I will literally talk to people and they'll be like, where do you work? I work for LaCie. What's that? You ever seen these orange hard drives around? Yeah, I own 2 of them. They don't even know it's called LaCie, you know?
RAID 5 is the most common RAID. It's 3 drives minimum. In our boxes, the most drives you can do is 12. And then any 1 drive can fail and you haven't lost your data, the volume's still great, you can go and then rebuild off the parity that's on the other ones. In RAID 50, you take a RAID 5 with, let's say the 6-big, you take a RAID 5 with the first 3 drives, a RAID 5 with the second 3 drives, you combine that with a RAID 0, and then any drive can fail out of the top 3 and any drive can fail out of the bottom 3, that RAID's still viable.
Now, before I go any further, this is where we really get set apart. So with the competition, if I had this 6-bay unit over here in front of John with me, and I want this to be a RAID 5, all the competition would make all these drives become a RAID 5. I don't need that. I don't need that much RAID 5 in this 60 terabyte. I only need 30 terabytes of it to be RAID 5. So in other words, they're kind of making my whole unit go that way. Well, with ours, you can do multiple RAID sets within our OS. So in other words, you could have RAID 1, these 2 mirroring each other. RAID 0, these 2 striped together to be ultra fast. Bauder, just a bunch of disks. You have the other 2 just sitting there as spare drives, right? 1 cable out to your computer, all those drives show up on your desktop that way.
You export that RAID 5, you can start using it, format it, it's good to go. And then you want to come back and you want to build a RAID 0 on these 3 drives. When you come back in here, these first drives are grayed out. You can't mess with that RAID you already created and mess it up. We grayed out, and you have to actually go in and delete the array and say, yes, I mean to delete it before you can mess with that previous RAID, just to make it, you know, a little more, well, nothing's idiot-proof, but a little more resistant.
CPU management for my RAID box. Why in the world do I want to have granular control of what the CPU or the brain of this product is doing? Why? Nobody else does that. Why? Well, I'll tell you why. I'm working with the competition's hard drive over here. Drive fails. Oh, crap, I'm working on a project today. I've got to keep working, so I pull the drive out, put 1 back in. It starts to rebuild itself, right? Because that's what RAIDs do. When you put a drive in, it just starts to reconfigure itself. Well, in a normal environment, you're now sit back down at your computer and like, well, I got to keep working on the project that I was working on when this drive just failed, but I can't. Because this thing's trying as hard as it can to rebuild itself, right? And it's just a conflict of interest between the 2. This thing's spinning itself all around, and then so when you go and you try to use your NLE system, and it's just choppy and everything, you're like, what's happening? Well, it's because it's trying to rebuild itself. It just can't. It's a total conflict of interest. Two powerful things are trying to use the same source at the same time. Well, with us, you crank rebuild all the way down to low, crank all the other CPU features all the way up to high, and now as you're working, as you continue to work, you get very little performance hit. To the point that you can continue to work for the day while it, I like to say, trickle rebuilds in the background, okay? Then at the end of the day, because it's been rebuilding at a much slower pace than normal, you're getting done, you're gonna go home and have dinner, you crank rebuild all the way up to high, turn all the other processes down to low, it'll now rebuild that RAID in up to twice the speed of what it normally would do for you. So you're not losing any sort of time in your day, even though you had a drive go down on you. Traditionally, you got to walk away and come back the next day. You're at least happy that the stuff's still there, but you lose a whole day still. So the power supply fails, right? If it's under the 5-year warranty, you call us up. We have advanced replacement. We'll say we're sorry. We'll actually ship you a new chassis, right? You'll take the drives out of this, plop them in the next one, up it comes.
On top of that, we put all the data about the RAID itself on every single drive. So that's why if you had, say, the fan go out or the power supply go out, you take them in order, slap them in the new chassis, it recognizes all that information on the drive and mounts it right to your computer as if nothing happened.
It does come with a USB-C to USB-A cable. So USB-A is the standard type of USB that you're all used to seeing. And what's great about it is the fact that you have those 3 connection types. You're going to get virtually the same performance on any one of them. So if you need to use Thunderbolt 3, you got it. If you need to use USB-C, you got it. If you need to use the USB 3 cable that comes with it, you got it. So whether you're going from a PC to a Mac, right, or a Linux machine, you don't know what sort of connections they're going to have. This thing virtually covers all your bases. We're getting closer to this connects, you just plug it in just like an Ethernet cable, and it just works across the board on a network solution. We're working that way, us, Intel, Apple. 5-year warranty, drives, chassis, enterprise class, advanced replacement, internal power supplies. These are the things that we've heard from you guys in the past that you wanted, which is why we now have them here. This is actually, as somebody who comes from the LaCie world, so I was with LaCie before Seagate acquired us 5 years ago. The awesome thing about having Seagate with us now is they actually listen to feedback, okay? And then they, not only do they listen to it, they incorporate it into their products moving forward, which I'm just amazed that a 40,000 person corporation like them actually has the prowess to do that. Just like you said, Thunderbolt 3 is great, but there's still a lot of old legacy equipment around. There's still need for sharing. There's still need for just the availability to know that that can get connected to whatever the colorist has on the other side of town, and he didn't realize he's got an old computer. Yeah, those, throw it to me. Come on, throw it to me. Ah! It will still work. That's great feedback. Okay, thank you all very much. Okay, this is great.
Appreciate it. Thank you.